Everyone, it has been a minute. It has been what, boys? Three something weeks,
I think
Something like
longer.
that.
but
Three.
we're back. We want to apologize to everybody, but you gotta understand the last what, two-ish weeks of school
Oh.
were, excuse my French, a living hell for all of us,
Hmm.
especially me. I had a lot to do.
Yeah.
We got it done. We're here. Last week we were all kind of all over the place. Luke and I were in Gettysburg.
Mm.
Dante was traveling all over the world to Houston, LA,
Yeah,
back
I
here.
was.
So
Yeah.
we're back here now. We're all together, and we're finally back on the mic here to bring you our picks for week 17, minus the two Christmas games, which we'll cover still, plus some college football playoff quarterfinal picks as well. So,
Yes, sir.
ready for all that today. As always, we are your hosts, your main three guys, Adam.
Dante.
And Luke.
And I will say, we are skipping fantasy leaders this week. If you want to see the week 16 fantasy leaders, go to our Instagram at the Weekly Gridiron to check those out. They're already live. So
Hmm.
if you want to see those, go ahead. Um, it is crazy I'm not covering it this week because there were two Carolina Panthers in the top 10, but it's all right. I digress.
You can
Uh,
mention them. You can mention them. That's
yeah.
okay.
Well, Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young both did very well, so I'm very happy.
A guy on your jersey. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Speaking of this jersey that I got, how was everyone's Christmas?
Great, bro. I mean,
Solid, yeah, absolutely.
I
Great.
yeah, I flew to Houston on last Wednesday and hung out with my aunt. And then I flew to Manhattan Beach, California, to hang out with my cousin and her fiance. And yeah, it was a great time. It was pretty cool. And speaking of jerseys, I'll grab this one. I had to fly all the way to Los Angeles to find the coolest Steeler jersey I own. But it's a Bumblebee Mike Wallace jersey. And
That is insane.
by coincidence, I had the same jersey as a kid. So the fact
Wow.
that I found it is
Really?
super cool. But yeah,
That's really cool.
and then I also got something funny and kind of football related. My own Funko Pop. Look at that.
Nice.
Has a Steeler jersey, oh, Steeler shirt on. But that's
I
me.
got one too. It's upstairs, but it has me in a Panther shirt with my dog Millie as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
Little
dude.
collectible. So,
I love these. And then obviously I have my Logic one. But yeah.
nice.
Anyway, fun stuff. Wish
Well,
wish the Steelers would have won, but it's whatever.
yeah. Why don't we start with that?
Yeah.
Steelers yesterday started off our Christmas slate with a big dud, a 29 to 10 loss at home to the Chiefs. Kansas City officially clinching the AFC's number one seed. Dante, I'll let you recap as much as you want from that game. Go off if you want. Floor
Yeah.
is
Well, I'm first going to start out, if you don't mind. I'm going to start out with the first game from our three-game stretch and then go through. Um, first one uh, in our in our three games in 10 days was against the Eagles, and the Steelers did show some promise there, but man, the Eagles defense did what they do, and yeah, really stuffed our run, punched us in the face. You know, uh, I don't know, crucial turnovers by the Steelers were the point of that game, and really all three games. But yeah, that was a tough loss to the Eagles. However, they are an incredibly good team, and yeah, that loss didn't really hurt as much at the time. But as we go on, I'll talk about it more. But then we played the Ravens last Saturday in Baltimore, and once again, turnovers were the name of the game. We were in that game for pretty much all four quarters, and but we really collapsed towards the end. I like how Russ played decent that whole game, except for his fumble and the pick six to Marlon Humphrey that pretty much sealed the deal. Yeah, defensive struggles have been a theme for the past 3 weeks for us, and it was no different in the Kansas City game. Um, yeah, not much to say there. We did make some good stops, but you know, we turned the ball over and we missed opportunities for turnovers. I don't know. People are acting like the sky is falling, which it does kind of feel like that, but the Steelers, have rebounded from stretches like this. For example, last year we lost three in a row to not very good teams like the Patriots, the Cardinals, and the Colts. But we recovered and won the last two and made the playoffs. So maybe we could go on a streak like that again this year, but I don't know. it's been a dark 3 weeks to be a Steeler fan. But to be honest, it's not like we're losing to like the Titans and like the Bears. We lost to three really good teams in the span of 10 days. Two of those games being on the road while we were significantly injured. I mean, for two of those games, George Pickens was out. For two of those games, Deshaun Elliott was out, one of our best safeties. Dante Jackson was out last game. Joey Porter Jr. was out last game. Larry Ogunjobi, one of our best run stuffers, was out that game. Um, if you're injured like that and don't have your key pieces, it's going to be way more of a challenge than it already is. So I think with this mini bye coming up, not having to play this Sunday and not having to play until the following Sunday, I think this will be a good recovery and rebound period for the Steelers. You get a game at home against a familiar opponent in the Bengals next week. And yeah, hopefully this could be a pick me up rebound game next week, even though the Bengals aren't a heater. But yeah, it's I'm bummed out for sure, but I haven't lost faith in this team. And one thing uh, that I've learned, not only as a Steeler fan, but as a football fan, is that you can never count out Pittsburgh. You just can't do it. They're one of those teams that will always stick around and always give you a fight. However, recently in the playoffs, it has not been that way. But I think if we recover and get healthy, this team could still be pretty good. So that's my take. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we all agree with you. I think to me the only issue is we're running out of time for that. I
This is
I
true.
I, I like the Steelers as much as anyone. I am in the camp that is pretty concerned. I do I you call back to the winning two games after the three disappointing losses last year. This year there's only one game left. Time to get healthy, only one game left to the playoffs. We were chatting before we went on air and we all agree that the Texans are the first round matchup in desire. I think it poses the best chance, maybe in my opinion, the real only chance for the Steelers to win a first round game. But we saw games like earlier in the year, first battle against Cincinnati, a shootout. Um, Other games where Russell Wilson led them to a touchdown when it was needed, and so that is what keeps me hopeful. But it is also what makes me concerned because that was just not what was on my TV last night or yesterday afternoon. It it was not a good look, and the thing that was frustrating to me was they were letting Patrick Mahomes pretty much have exactly what he wanted all day, which was a lot of very quick screens, RPOs, just dumping over the middle, and then he would do that 10 times in a row, and it would open up Noah Gray 30 yards down the field, and so he was just having his way. I mean that was just a generational talent having the best game of his season.
Mhm.
Mahomes has had a couple weeks this season where he's looked like just a fringe top 10 quarterback, but we all know who the talent of Patrick Mahomes is. He was just carving you guys up last night. I know about the injuries. I as well think that you can never count the Steelers out, but it's got to get to a certain point, I think, where this has to stop happening. The late year
Collapses.
collapses, slumps, whatever you want to call it.
No, I
I'm sure it's very frustrating to watch. I know it was as somebody so, sort of out of the fan base, but I don't disagree that 2 weeks now, if we can say that they played the Texans and we can say that they beat the Texans, who look worse than the Steelers, um, 2 weeks and the third for week two in the playoffs, that might be enough time to get enough back on your feet and swing the momentum.
yeah. I don't know. It seems like right when I start thinking it's over for the Steelers, they make a miraculous turnaround. It has happened multiple times. And, but I'm not going to get my hopes up for that. All we can do is just sit back and watch this team and hope they turn things around, and I have faith they can. Um, I don't know. This team is way too talented to just keel over, but I agree with everything you're saying. These late season slumps are getting very old, and I'm one of the most optimistic Steeler fans there is. There aren't many of us. Most of us are pretty doom and gloom a lot of the
Beaten
time.
down, yeah.
But I don't know, man. I've seen what this team can do. We've beaten good teams, and it's not so much frustrating. I mean, it is frustrating, but just confusing. Like what changed, you
Yeah.
know? Like, but I don't know.
It's really just going to depend on Russell Wilson and what version of him you get.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we'll see. But anyway, enough of that.
Well, real quick before we jump into the week 17, the rest of the slate, we can just quickly touch on the atrocity that was the second Christmas game last night.
Sorry.
The Baltimore Ravens blowing out the Houston Texans 31-2 in Houston. That was just, man, Beyonce's halftime show was probably the best part of that game,
I didn't even watch most of that
Yeah, I
game
didn't watch it
because I was
either.
so frustrated from the previous one. But
which I understand, and you wouldn't have missed very much, but man, Houston, I was really expecting a much more from them this year, and they just have not shown it. CJ Stroud, as frustrating as it is, has not been the quarterback he was last year.
mm-mm.
Now, there still is a tiny bit of time to figure it out. I mean, you're gonna have a playoff home game. They've won their division, so that's guaranteed. But you look at the rest of the AFC playoff teams currently, the Steelers, the Broncos, the Chargers. Do you really think Houston beats any of those teams? I don't think so. I don't think they beat any of them. Maybe Denver. I don't think they beat Pittsburgh. I don't think they beat LA.
I
So
think they could beat Pittsburgh.
they could,
Right?
but
They could
It just
beat any
depends
team.
on what version of those teams show up that day.
This is
that's
true.
true.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I still have faith in Houston. But their offensive line, like the Steelers, has struggled pretty much all year. But Joe, I mean, not in, you know, run formations, but pass protection. You know, CJ Stroud has gone down a lot this year, and man, they are. I mean, I was complaining about George Pickens being out. Man, the Texans are struggling in terms of wide receiver injuries. Diggs out, um, prayers up
Diggs
to
out
Tank
now.
Dell.
Yeah.
That was,
And perhaps the worst of all, they have Deontay Johnson on the roster healthy.
it's gotten so bad that they had to do that.
hey man, talk as much smack about you want as the Steelers. We know how to get the best years out of receivers, and
That is correct.
it is insane. But
You
yeah,
really do. For sure.
but yeah, Houston, they're a confusing team. I think their defense could still be really good. Will Anderson had a game last night. He's a beast and kind of I think underrated in the league as an edge rusher. Um, but yeah, I hope Houston figures it out because I do really like them as a team. And however, it'd be nice to play them in the first round, as we were talking about. But
I think that's your easiest matchup, honestly. I mean, Houston still has the star power, but in terms of who you'd be up against coaching wise, I'd rather see Tomlin go up against D'Amico Ryans than Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh,
that's true. I wouldn't mind going up against. I'd honestly rather play the Chargers or the Broncos over the Texans.
which is fair.
To be real. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Beggars can't be choosers right now. I'm just glad we're in the playoffs, and we'll just play whoever's in front of us. Control what we
Yep.
control and see where it takes us. But
We'll
anyway,
have
Hey,
a
you're
we'll
in.
have
That's all that matters.
a more clear view to talk about this next week too.
yep, yep, true.
So
All right, y'all all set to hop into this.
Let's get
yes,
into it. Before we pick our first few games, you can go to Thursday night, but I will say Dante is 2-0 on the week. Luke and I are both 1-1 so far. Everyone picked Baltimore yesterday. Everyone was correct on that. Luke and I went with the Steelers. Unfortunately, we're wrong there. Dante did go with the Chiefs. Had the, I guess, vision picking against his team, even though he
You know,
didn't want to do it, I'm sure.
it was a consolation. I'm like, if the Steelers lose, at least I got the game right.
Yeah. Well, we are on to the rest of week 17 now, and we have Thursday night football tonight. At the time we are recording this, the Seahawks at 8-7 taking on the 4-11 Chicago Bears. Seattle coming off a very rough, close loss to the Vikings that Dante almost called as his upset of the week. He was very close on that.
Yeah,
And they maybe have a chance to rebound and get a much needed victory tonight. And I'll start by saying I think the Seahawks are going to do that. The Bears have just been abysmal since that Hail Mary loss to the Commanders. And I don't think anything's getting much better over there. Caleb Williams hasn't been the worst rookie quarterback. I mean, really, none of the rookie quarterbacks have been bad this year. So I guess you could say Caleb's been the worst one, but he hasn't been awful. He's still showing some flashes. It's just the rest of the team just stinks. And they just need to figure it out this offseason. But for right now, I'm going Seattle, especially with Jackson Smith and Jigba. JSN has been going off, which I love to see. I love to see them finally getting him involved because I just knew that he could be a real game changer for them, and he's been that so far.
Yeah, I could go, Luke, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks too here. Um, yeah, like Adam was saying, JSN's really having as close to a breakout year as you could get. I think I would consider it a breakout year. He's playing really well, and the Bears are not. Seahawks, they haven't clinched yet. Correct? Yeah, they're not in yet, but they very well could.
They need some help. We'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, the Seahawks, they're playing for way more. And man, the Bears are still, adapting to their, interim head coaching change. Um, yeah, I like the Seahawks here.
So do I. This isn't one you have to think about much. If you're a Bears fan, you're acting like a, a Panthers fan last year. All you really want to see for the rest of the year is flashes. That's no offense to you, Adam, but it's true. All you
It
really
is
want to
true.
see is
It is
all
true.
you really want to see is flashes. You don't really mind the wins and losses at this point. It's difficult for me as a Patriots fan to walk the thin line between, well, yeah, I want to win the games we play, but to not be a tanker. The Bears probably in their best interest to lose the next game or two, as it is for a few different teams. And that should be no problem for them this week. Give me the Seahawks.
Cool.
All right. Nice and easy, clean sweep to start. On to our Saturday slate. We've got three games this Saturday. The first one at 1 p.m., where the 9-6 Chargers take on the 3-12 New England Patriots. Luke, you're the Patriots fan here. I'll let you go into that game a little more and start us off with your pick.
Yeah, they're darn lucky we hadn't recorded last week, or else I would have sounded like someone who really needed a hug because they have been pretty pathetic as of late since we've stopped recording. There was the game specifically. We have a bye, right? And then we have the Cardinals the next week. A team we normally, in the past 10 against them, I think we were 9-1. We had 2 weeks to prepare for a team who's, by all measurable accounts, struggling. Losing a couple games, Kyler Murray, the facade was disappearing. The team was not a playoff team. And the Cardinals, they kick our butt, and it has never looked worse, perhaps, than it had right then and there. And then we had the Bills, and we jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And the only reason we lose that game, if you look at the scoreboard, fine. I mean, butterfly effect, but the real only reason we lose on the scoreboard is because of a backwards pass that Ramondre Stevenson lets hit him in the hands, and it goes right back in the end zone, just 3 yards back from where we were, and the Bills fall on it. Ramondre Stevenson is worrying the heck out of me. We committed to him. We put money in his bank, and he is leading the league in fumbles. He had that dropped backwards pass that led to that touchdown. So it still was, all things considered, a good game for us. Drake May statistically outplayed the man he's trying to mirror, Josh Allen. Um, I saw a meme on Twitter that I loved, Jets and Dolphins fans saying, what could be worse than one Josh Allen in the division? How about two? And Drake May has looked like that. He's looked great, but he also looks like a very, very young and undisciplined Josh Allen with the turnovers and with the coaching disaster class of the late middle of the season, despite last week's effort. I can't pick the Patriots for the rest of the year. I just can't. And like I said earlier, I don't want to be a tanker, but winning could really cause us some problems. We have the number two pick. We don't need the number two pick. I want to desperately trade one or two if we end up with them. But some of the teams at the bottom of the league are so bad. They're like 12 lost teams, winning could drop us from 2 to like 8. So again, that risk of being a tanker, I can hide behind the fact that I just can't pick us anyways. So give me the Chargers.
Adam.
And we used to be able. I used to be able to pick us against the Chargers, like 2021, even a couple other years. We weren't favored at all, and we have the Chargers number. But I guess that's a Bill Belichick thing,
Yeah.
because I guess the Cardinals was a Bill Belichick thing. And what's worse than Bill Belichick is somebody whose ceiling is the floor of Bill Belichick. So while we deal with Gerard Mayo, who I wouldn't mind being fired, but it seems like that isn't really going to happen. Yeah, Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to mention this is a win and in game for LA. If they do win this game, they're in the playoffs.
Well,
And
congrats to them.
unfortunately, Luke, I do agree with you. I think they are going to win this game. I do consider the Patriots recent ownership of the Chargers, but I don't really think it's going to matter this year. LA is just the better team. They've shown it recently. I'll take the Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I'll pick the Chargers too in the JC Jackson Bowl. Shout out.
Huh.
That's a pull. But
I'll be watching from the same place JC Jackson is, his couch. But but
uh,
yeah, you're not wrong.
but yeah,
The
Luke,
Hunter Henry Bowl.
the Hunter Henry Bowl, sure. Um, but yeah, Luke, I like what you said about Drake May, and I I would still be insanely optimistic and
Yeah,
honestly would expect him to be very good in the future. And honestly, he was people are comparing him to Josh Allen. He's honestly having a better rookie year than Josh Allen had. Josh Allen was awful his rookie year. Like maybe not awful, but not good, Nowhere near what he is now, but um if the Patriots, I, I mean, you'll say it. You won't say it, Luke, but I will. If I were a Patriots fan, I would want to lose this game. Like just for that draft
you're
pick.
saying you're saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, yeah. I said it, you didn't, but um, yeah. I think if the Patriots, yeah, Christian Gonzalez is he playing for you or he's out for the year,
Oh
right?
yeah, no, he's been playing.
Oh, is
That
he?
was last year.
Who am I? I'm sorry. Who am I thinking of?
Yeah, last game he had 36 snaps, 1 target, 0 receptions, well in
Oh,
coverage.
I must have been thinking of some other rookie, but sorry. Yeah, Christian Gonzalez. Once he, can even develop further into, I think he could be a top five corner in the league if he's not already.
I
Which,
think he is right now.
yeah, yeah. And I'd have to watch him play because sorry, I don't watch the Patriots too much,
No,
but
can't blame me.
but yeah, I think if the Patriots can develop more, obviously I don't know the whole Gerard Mayo situation, but from what I hear, he hasn't been the best. But yeah, I think if the Patriots can lock up a good pick in this year's draft, they could really uh, be a contender in years ahead. But in this game, I will go with the Chargers.
Cool. We are on to our second Saturday game at 4:30 p.m. In my opinion, this is the best game of the Saturday slate. I think it should be the night game.
This is a tough one.
It is a tough one. I will say 9-6 Broncos versus 7-8 Bengals. Both teams with playoff implications on the line here. Both teams could really benefit from a win. It is a win and in game for Denver, but the Bengals do need to win to keep their playoff chances alive. I'm not sure if they can be eliminated this week. I think they can, but
Yeah, they have to
a,
win out. So if they
okay.
lose, but
A win would greatly benefit Cincinnati here. But man, you're right. I don't know. This is a toss up.
I think I know.
Broncos coming off a loss. Bengals have, like you said, kind of been on a heater recently. Man, I feel like I know who I'm going with, but I'm also not sure.
I could go first if you guys aren't sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals, I think. Um, at home, they are looking really good offensively, as they have pretty much all season. But defensively, they've been picking it up too. They've really played better relatively to how they played earlier in the year. Still nothing, elite, obviously, but better than they have been. And it honestly makes me grateful, but a little bit scared that the Bengals could be not scared, but worried, but that the Bengals could be a dangerous team in the playoffs, which I would not count them out to be that. But if they do make the playoffs, yeah, I think they could be pretty good. But is it a win and in for the Broncos too?
Yes.
It is. So this is a big game. Big playoff implications with this game, but I think Cincinnati's going to get it done.
Luke, you want to go or
Um,
you want me to go?
I'll go, and I'm gonna agree, even though everything in my head tells me not to, because the real strength of the Broncos is that defense, and the real weakness of the Bengals is that defense. But to put it real simple, the Broncos can have the best defense in the league. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league, and Jamar Chase has a darn good argument to be the best wide receiver in the league.
I think he
I
is.
know the, and I know those are all maybe not hot takes, but microwaves takes because of just how good Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have been. But I think it's pretty clear to see if the Bengals swapped records uh, with any of those teams, Joe Burrow would be the runaway favorite for MVP. Um, and so I think that he's just been so unstoppable that I have no good reason to assume that that will end to the point where the slower now Broncos offense will be able to outscore them.
Yeah.
All
Adam's
right.
smiling.
I'm still kind of debating this. You know what? Screw it. I'll take the Bengals too. I don't know if it's a good idea for us to clean sweep on this game, looking at the schedule, because there are a lot of clean sweep worthy games coming up. But I believe in the Bengals more than I do the Broncos right now. Call
Yeah.
me crazy. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are cooking. And yeah, the Broncos have Patrick Surtain, who's going to be on Jamar Chase for this game, but I don't know. I really like what the Bengals are doing right now. Kind of a late season resurgence. Now, they are going to need a lot of help still in week 18. They're going to need to win again if they win this week, but it's I like what they're putting together. Who knows if it'll be too little too late, but I like that they are in it right now, and I believe in them to get it done. I really think, I don't know, I think Cincinnati is trending upward at the right time and Denver is trending downward at the wrong time.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
We'll see if we're right after this week, but I do like Cincinnati in this one.
I'm like pretty confident. I know you guys are like kind of hesitant, which is understandable, but I'm like the Bengals could like dominate. Not maybe not blow them out, but win convincingly, I think is not out of the question. But
Yeah, they have that firepower, certainly.
yeah, and I'm honestly I wasn't whenever he was in college, but I've turned into a pretty big Bo Nix supporter. I love how he's playing. Um, he's everything Kenny Pickett should have been. But yeah, I like Bo Nix, and I do like the Broncos, even though they, you know, completely dumped off my sweet Pookie Bear, Russell Wilson. But anyway, go
I'm a
Broncos.
little bit I'm a
What's
little bit back and forth on Bo Nix. I go from one week, man, he's a real star in the making. The next week, maybe he is kind of a stat book merchant. And the fact that that defense has taken the leap, and that's the difference between why they couldn't win with Russell Wilson and why they can win with Bo Nix. But what I will say is he certainly looks like he's been good enough for them to win these games.
I'm glad you realized that, Luke, that Russ really wasn't the problem in Denver. I
Oh,
mean,
that is the difference, period. The
yeah,
defense.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he almost has identical stats to Bo Nix.
yeah.
So
Quite
why
literally.
would they not? Why would they have a backwards record? Is because of the defense.
Yeah, I don't know how. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't know how you could give up 70 points in a game and have the nerve to blame your quarterback. That's all I'm saying. Whenever that quarterback threw 26 touchdowns to only 8 picks last year. I digress. We'll move on.
Okay. Final Saturday night game or Saturday game here. This is a night game. As of Google, it says 8:10. I thought this game was at 8, but it's at 8:10 apparently. And that is the 7-8 Cardinals, who are now eliminated from playoff contention thanks to my beautiful running back Chuba Hubbard. And we have the 9-6 Rams at home here. Cannot officially clinch the division this week unless they win and the Bears beat the Seahawks, which still could happen, but The Rams need a win nonetheless, but I think they're going to get one. Like I said about the Bengals, the Rams are trending upward at the right time, and the Cardinals just didn't look good last week. Like I said, rough game, rough ending for them, and I think this could kind of be their way of checking out. If you saw Trey McBride following the Panthers game, he was very unhappy they lost. Had choice words about Carolina as not a good team. Whether I agree with that or not is not said, but um, yeah, I just not sure I like what I'm seeing from the Cardinals right now, whereas I really like what I'm seeing from the Rams. So this is kind of an easy pick for me. I'm gonna go LA.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, I'll agree. Rams coming off a decent win against the Jets last week. Um, I actually watched that game because that was the only game on whenever I was in California. I actually got to sit down and watch a Ram game. It was pretty entertaining, and it showed me how bad the Jets were, but I already knew that. But yeah, I think I'm going to take the Rams here. Uh, kind of feel bad for the Cardinals because they did have some promise, going in. Well, like just a few weeks ago, people were like the Cardinals could make uh, the wild card, but the NFC West, I don't know, man. It's just like pretty mid this year. I don't know. But I like the Rams. Yeah, I'll take them.
I do too, despite the whooping that the Cardinals gave the Rams way back earlier in the season.
This is true. This is
It's something to keep in mind, but it's not something to sway past the obvious pick. The Rams right now are the team that nobody wants to play. They're hitting their stride, and it would have to be real spoiler for them to lose this game.
yeah,
Possible because of what we saw earlier this year, but what was that, 10 weeks ago? A lot can happen. So give me the Rams.
cool.
All right, we're on a Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. First of six games for 1 p.m. We've got a divisional rivalry here, the 7-8 Cowboys and the 12-3 Eagles. This one's very interesting. Yes, the Cowboys are eliminated from contention, but the Eagles are apparently, according to ESPN's injury depth chart, both Kenny Pickett and Jalen Hurts are listed as questionable for this game. Jalen Hurts, especially with his concussion, I saw did not practice yesterday due to it, but according to an Eagles insider, neither did the rest of the team because they had no practice yesterday. It was Christmas. That being said, I think I know who I'm going to go with here. And I'm actually not going to claim this as my upset of the week because I forgot to say in the beginning, I already claimed it as the Steelers. That did not go well for me. But I also don't really think this is an upset right now because we don't really know the situation for the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Cowboys on the road in this one. You can call it a little shocking, but it's not only because of the Eagles quarterback situation. The Dallas Cowboys are playing good football right now. And I really think they've fully embraced their role as a spoiler that could really shake things up and really cause some chaos late on into the season. And I like what I've seen from Cooper Rush. This team has just played really well. Their defense, especially, they've gotten a lot of key pieces back. And I think they're going to continue the trend of splitting with the Eagles. The Eagles win one and the Cowboys win one. That's usually how it's gone the last few years, and I think that trend's going to continue this Sunday.
Can I go, Luke?
Go for it.
I'm going to take the Eagles here, and mainly because I understand your concern about the quarterback situation. But if we're going to be real, the Eagles, I don't think they've ever won because of Jalen Hurts, at least for this year. Um, they have what could be the best defense in the league, and I don't think it's a debate right now, the best running back in the league, along with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and so on and so forth. I don't think it's really going to matter who's at quarterback for the Eagles, as long as you have Saquon Barkley back there and Kenyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, N'Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, J Jalen Carter. As long as you have those guys, you're going to be a good football team. And I think against a division rival at your place, I like the Eagles a lot. So I'll go with Philly.
I as well am not going to overthink it. you bring up some valid points, Adam, and the Cowboys are another team that nobody wants to play right now. But how many points did Philly score despite Kenny Pickett? No offense. Um,
No,
and there was a missed false start on the touchdown that gave the Commanders the game. I'm with you, Dante. They're such an all-around good football team. It's their game to lose. And
yeah.
while Cooper Rush is, having his 4 games that he always has, I still think there's a ceiling on that football team, and I think the floor on the Eagles is high enough to at least bring it to an even game. And I think that whoever's under center, they still win.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look at something real quick. Just looking at who the Cowboys have played recently. Sorry.
They played the Panthers and blew
Panthers,
us out.
Panthers beat the Bucks by 2. That's a nice win. Lost to the Bengals, beat the Giants by 7, beat the Commanders, got blown out by the Texans, blown out by the Eagles. So I would say, they've won some games, but nothing to make me pick against Philly. Sorry, I mean Adam, your pick is absolutely valid. I
I
just
understand. It's okay.
you know what I'm saying.
Good, man.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right. Okay, moving on to the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Panthers are 4-11 on the season after their great overtime victory against Arizona. I'm never going to live that one down. That was fantastic.
Love that.
I also get we may need to be losing for a better draft pick at this point, but I'm also pretty used to picking in the top 10. So I wouldn't mind seeing some wins from us at the same time. Then again, taking on the Buccaneers, this is a tough one. Last matchup, we went to overtime against Tampa. Had a win in our hands if we wanted it. It was our game to lose, and Chuba Hubbard fumbled the football. And Tampa marched down the field, hit a game winning field goal. Now, Chuba really made up for it last game with a game winning overtime touchdown. However, this one is in Tampa, and recently the Panthers have not had the luck on their side in Tampa. I cannot remember the last time we won a game at Raymond James Stadium. It's been a while, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to continue, or I don't think it's going to change. Sorry, this week I do have the Buccaneers winning, especially because they need it a lot more right now than we do. Tampa Bay is in a very serious predicament, as they call it. Um, they are 8-7 right now, same record as the Falcons, but they are in second in the division because Atlanta holds the tiebreaker. They swept Tampa this year. So Tampa really needs the win right now if they want to make the playoffs, either as a division winner or a wild card. I did see they could make it as the 7th seed. However, they want to do that, they really need the win right now. I do think Bryce Young's going to make it a game. He's going to really hang in there again against his Buccaneers team, but ultimately, I could see it coming down to a field goal difference again, but I think Tampa's going to get the job done and get the win.
Luke, you could go since I went last one.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. I think Tampa will win. I I want to see a good game. I think we will see a good game, but Tampa knows what's at stake. Baker Mayfield knows what's at stake, and the Carolina Reaper is has had a heck of a season doing what he's been doing. But
That's a sick
yeah,
nickname.
it is a sick nickname. I didn't come up with that. It's already a big thing, but it's still like I still hesitate to say we're going to get that every single week because of what we saw against the Cowboys. Even though that was a fantastic game last week for the Panthers, it's still a lot of figuring things out, and the Bucks know what is at stake. Baker Mayfield loves to win football games, and you're going to have to really, really outplay them to knock them off here. We'll see.
Yeah.
Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucks here too, and I may even be rooting for the Bucks here just because the Panthers could have a better shot of getting Abdul Carter. That'd be sick. But nah, yeah, I'll go with the Bucks here. However, I do think the Panthers could win this game. I really do. They've last week, man, they balled. They played really well. I wish the defense would have played a little bit better, but it really doesn't matter whenever you're putting up points like that offensively. Yeah, really happy for the Panthers. Really stoked for them. I really want them to do well in not only the rest of this year, but in years to come. But yeah, I like the Bucks here.
appreciate that. I forgot to mention, if it comes down to it right now, draft wise, Abdul Carter is the guy I do want us to take.
Good.
And I also forgot to mention another Christmas thing. Luke and I do have Penn State jerseys on the way, and the one they ordered for me was Abdul Carter.
Oh,
So
sick. What's yours,
yeah,
Luke?
Tyler Warren.
Oh, gas. You kind of look like Tyler Warren, to be real.
I
that's
get
what
that
I
all the
told
time.
him. I told
I
him that
get that all
yesterday.
the time.
He
Oh
Yeah.
really
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
If I was like a foot taller, I could walk around campus and say I'm Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
But
Which is which
I'm
is
not a foot taller.
works out because Adam kind of looks like Abdul Carter.
Okay,
Yeah.
now.
I don't know. I mean, they have slightly different hair.
Abdul Carter doesn't wear glasses. That's
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
anyway.
All right, let's move on. Bills.
Bills, yeah.
Bills.
Do we really need to waste any time?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right. Okay, my thing's kind of out of order here.
You
Fighting
want to
Woody
talk about that?
Johnson's.
We can.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
All right.
Okay, sick.
What's there to say?
Yeah, true.
We've got the um Derek Carr Bowl here with the 3-12 Raiders against the 5-10 Saints. Derek Carr won't even be playing in this game because he's hurt. Spencer Rattler's the QB1. Spencer Rattler versus Aiden O'Connell, the matchup everyone wants to see at 1 o'clock on a Sunday.
Oh man.
I guess I'll take the Saints. I mean, they're the better team. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
I'm taking the Raiders. Um,
Okay.
yeah. I think
They already screwed themselves enough winning last week. Might as well just make it worse.
I think Aiden O'Connell is honestly uh a lot better than Spencer Rattler. And
Well, I hope for their sake you're right because they're stuck with him next year
yeah,
because they're
um,
out of every quarterback range.
yeah. But yeah, I think the difference is going to be Brock Bowers. I mean, he is incredible. I love watching him play. He's surpassed expectations. People expected him to be, very, very good. I mean, people expected him to be, real good, but he's been the best tight end in the league this year. I don't think it's been particularly close either. Um, over
Is
a thousand.
this, sorry, not to interrupt you. Is this the second straight year we've said that about a rookie? Because Sam Laporta was really good last year.
Yeah,
A lot of people maybe said he was the best tight end in the NFL last year. So you love to see it.
yeah. I mean, I'd have to look back at the stats last year because I'm sure Kelsey and Kittle were really good, and even Mark Andrews. But this has been a down year for a lot of tight ends, but not Brock Bowers. He's really shined. But yeah, I think he's going to be the difference. I think the Saints are going to struggle to stop him, and he's going to have a big game. And I hope he does because he's my starting tight end. So on fantasy. But anyway, yeah, I'll go with the Raiders. I don't know if that's. I mean, I don't know if that's my upset because no, no, I'm not going with that. No,
Luke,
Hmm.
who do you?
Where is this game?
It's in New Orleans at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I think they call it
Yeah,
Caesars.
I'll go with the Saints.
Caesar Superdome. That's right now. It's called
I'll
that.
go with the Saints just because of the 12th man. Um, uh, I
The
mean,
scary 12th man in New Orleans.
look, the
I'm just
12th man is also, you know, nobody goes to Raiders games, so this could be a home game for the Raiders, and the
you know
12th
what?
man for the Saints would show up.
No, touche. That's fair.
Honestly, their stadium has aura, so blame me. But
So you're taking the Saints, Luke?
dude, I'm looking for any reason to pick one of these teams. So it
I'm
could be
going
the
with the,
Saints.
I'm going with the Saints. They have more aura. Quote it. Put it on a t-shirt. That's so. I love that.
Spencer Rattler is terrible, but yeah, everybody all around is. So
Oh, dude, that's where we get in week 17. That's
yeah, yeah.
like which
At
team?
least it's taken us this long to get here this year, because it feels like last year we were in week 10 and there were like 10 starting quarterbacks who have not seen a field this year.
Yeah,
I mean, other than I guess Mac Jones, but like that, there have been good rookies this year, thank goodness,
yeah,
and some veterans are actually playing like they should. So,
exactly. Yeah.
but here we are. It's always going to come down to games like this and like this.
Oh
No,
yeah.
no disrespect to Mason Rudolph, but
I someone pick. I don't know.
Titans.
no, I don't know.
I It's like the last game where if I have to pick a team, I'm gonna go with the one that's better on paper, and that's Tennessee, although that's not really saying that much.
Yeah. What do you think,
I'm
Luke?
gonna go with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They've been better, and they won the last matchup. They just lost to the Raiders. Oh my goodness! All right,
Yeah.
Dante,
yeah,
break it.
I'll point to the last matchup. I'll go with the Jaguars again.
I'll go with the Titans. I'll take them.
That's fair.
I've
Okay,
I've quite literally no notes on why I picked them, but
Yeah.
um,
neither do we. Okay, before we go on, Dante, I think you skipped a 1 p.m. game.
oh, did I?
Uh, Colts and Giants are at 1.
Oh, hold on.
Good
I'm
one
gonna
to skip.
stop sharing my screen real quick.
Oh, you're good. I mean, we could just pick on the spot.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, okay, let's just say this. Is anyone willingly picking the Giants?
No,
Maybe not willingly.
Are you picking the Giants, Luke?
No, but I would certainly love it if they would win.
that's fair.
I'm sure you would. Okay. So are we all going Colts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
You could
That's all
just
we
put
needed to
it
do for
back up,
that.
Dante.
Cool. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I
you're
hate
good,
myself.
man.
I just didn't.
If you're gonna
No
skip
worries.
any game, that one is fine.
If I'm not missing anymore. I don't think.
Anywho, we've got our first 4 p.m. game here, first of only two this week, and that is the 7-8 Dolphins and 3-12 Browns. Miami needs to keep winning if they want to make the playoffs. That's really the only playoff implication that's in this game.
I didn't
So
know they were still in it. Are the Raiders still in it?
I don't know, are they? It's a good question.
You have a phone a friend?
I'll call Daryl.
We love you, Daryl,
Anyways,
for watching this. Um,
anyways.
I'm gonna go
Dolphins.
Miami. I'll go Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Miami.
Especially if the Browns start DTR again. I get they made him their QB1 last week, but 1 week was enough. Put Jameis back out there. He's the better guy. Or at
He
the very worst, put Patriots legend Bailey Zappi out there.
he honestly could be their best option, if I'm gonna be real.
Who, James?
Bailey Zappi. I think
Oh, hmm,
I mean, Luke,
maybe.
he's had some games,
He showed some flashes, yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, he has a higher ceiling than DTR and a higher floor than Jameis Winston,
yeah.
probably. So, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, the Jarvis Landry Bowl is gonna be a movie.
Hey, don't forget the Odell
Yeah.
Beckham Jr. Bowl.
Oh, the OBJ Bowl, of course.
True. For known Dolphin OBJ.
Yeah. The Brock Osweiler Bowl, anybody?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right, now this
This is a
game
game.
of the week.
About time.
Finally.
I
Yeah.
know.
Why is this not a primetime game?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
Let me Google
11 and
something.
4 Packers, 13 and 2 Vikings. Both teams in the playoffs. I don't really think the Packers are in consideration for the division, but the Vikings very much are. Not only the division, the Vikings are in consideration for the 1 seed in the NFC.
I,
What's not to like in this game?
yeah, I don't know who I'm going with.
I do.
I think I do too.
You guys could go first.
Luke, you want to start?
There's one issue for the Vikings. Toyotathon doesn't end until January 6th. Give me the Packers.
Do
If
you
you
like to
don't
claim this
know,
as your upset of the week, Luke?
yeah, sure. If you don't know, Jordan Love plays out of his mind during Toyotathon, like consistently. So, who knows why, but on a real note, give me the Packers. I think they have the offensive power to overcome the defense and to outscore what has been a great Vikings offense, but is it going to be great every single week, every single time against really good teams? It's just left to be seen. I love Sam Darnold. I love this story as much as anyone, but it's still Sam Darnold. The guy who saw the ghost is still down in there somewhere, and we'll see if he can do this every single week against some really good football teams. I feel confident in picking the Packers.
Adam?
Hmm. So I'm looking at the Minnesota schedule here. I'm not holding anything against them, but since their loss to the Rams, their wins have come against the Colts, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bears again, and the Seahawks, with a lot of those a little too close for comfort. When does Toyotathon end, Luke?
January 6th.
Well, it's December 26th, so I think you've convinced me. I'll take Green Bay too. Why not?
Mm. You know, you guys, you may not remember actually, but in our preseason predictions,
I
my,
remember.
my Super Bowl pick was the Green Bay Packers. And honestly, I was kind of leaning to go Minnesota. But you guys gave me that little push to believe in my King Jordan Love. I'm gonna
Toyotathon, baby.
Toyotathon, bro. I'm going with the Packers. I like Matt LaFleur. I love this team. I'm a big Packer guy. They're really my NFC team, I think. I'm rooting for them heavy. Sorry, Nap. But yeah, I think they can win this game. And the fact that the game was so close between the Vikings and the Seahawks um, proves that the Vikings are beatable, even though they did win that game. Um, Packers are playing good ball, man. They are a good football team, and I like them in this game. And that will also be my upset of the week, if that is cool.
Yeah,
Their wide receivers are making plays. Tucker Kraft has been great.
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs has been, it's hard to say as good as anyone in this year, but he's been fantastic.
dude, he was. I watched like the first half of that Packers Saints game on Monday. He was dominant, dude. Like running over guys like consistently. Like he was just a pinball out there, and I was stoked to see it.
all right.
Absolutely.
I think we're good to keep going. On to Sunday Night Football, where the 8-7 Falcons take on the 10-5 Commanders in DC. This is a very big game for both teams playoff wise. I believe it is a win and in game for Washington. If they win, they're in the playoffs officially. But at the same time, the Falcons, if they can get a little help from their friends in Carolina, I guess friends in this sense, um, they can win that. Carolina can win that, and Atlanta wins this. The Falcons are NFC South champions this week.
Imagine somebody telling you in the offseason that week 17, Falcons and Commanders could be a double win and in game. Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, wait, the Falcons win their in? Sorry, I
Well,
missed
no, not exactly,
that.
but
Oh,
I
okay.
said could be. They,
Oh,
well, I
okay.
mean, they need the. Excuse me, if the Bucks lose,
Oh,
just win
sorry.
the name.
My bad.
No,
But
it's okay. I can talk.
so Adam, are you kind of rooting for the Bucks here so that the Falcons don't get in? Because if you beat them,
Somewhat.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd much rather see the Buccaneers in the playoffs, but I mean, I'm not going to root against my own team this week.
it would be
So
so much sweeter if you guys won, but the Falcons lost. Like they messed it up for themselves. Like
that
that.
would be awesome. That would be really awesome.
That would be sick.
Um, and I do think Atlanta loses this game. I am going to pick Washington. I like what I'm seeing out of Jaden Daniels. They had a bit of a down-ish stretch for a while, but they're starting to look hot again. Daniels and the Commanders are coming off a big win over the Eagles, and I think they carry that momentum into this game. It's just something about the Falcons in big games. Plus, it's only Michael Penix Jr.'s second start. Given he did have a pretty good start against the Giants in his first one. He did have one interception, but that really wasn't his fault. I guess it was for thinking Kyle Pitts can catch a football, but um, I do think that one really wasn't his fault in essence. But something about him going into from a very easy game against the Giants to a very tough one on the road, I'm just not sure about. And I think Washington's the better team right now, genuinely. So I will take the Commanders in this one.
Agreed. Yeah, Washington.
Washington, it is.
Cool.
Cool. And on to our last game of the week. We don't have to spend too much time on this one. 49ers stink. Give me the Lions.
Yeah, Lions.
Lions.
Cool. All right.
And y'all think we're done. That's not the case. We've got some bonus predictions for y'all. This is the current updated college football playoff bracket
Yeah.
with all four games last week. If you like close football, last week was not your week.
Yeah.
These games were disgustingly blowouts, all four of them.
Yeah.
But I think we've got some great matchups set up for ourselves to watch in the quarterfinals. Starting with the first one at 7:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, where number 6 Penn State will take on number 3 Boise State. We've got an interesting one here, Drew Aller and Penn State coming off a big win against SMU. Like I said, really wasn't even a contest. But now Penn State has a tough test in their hands, in the hands of Ashton Jeanty, running back for Boise State, who had 29 touchdowns on the ground this season. Runner up for Heisman. A lot of people, including myself, believe he should have won the award. We're not going to get into that. We really don't need to have a huge debate.
I don't think it is a debate. I think we might all agree.
I
That's
think
true.
we agree.
Yeah.
I guess I could start by saying I don't think Boise State matches up to Penn State. I think the Nittany Lions get another win. I think this one's not going to be, what was the Penn State game? 38-10, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think this one's 38-10. Maybe more like 38-21 or 38-28 even. I don't really know much about Boise State besides Ashton Jeanty. I really just don't. Do they have a good quarterback? Are there any other great players on their team? Then you go to Penn State. Aller, Singleton, Katron Allen, Tyler Warren, Abdul Carter on defense, Zion Tracy. Penn
That's
State's got
just
a
yeah,
lot of
that's just getting to it. Mhm.
they've got a lot of great things going for them. And I think Penn State uses their star power to get the win here and move on to the semifinals in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Um, Luke, you could go, but I'm pretty sure we both agree.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if anybody sees. But I did. Give me the Nittany Lions, baby. I mean, it's time. It's time to step on the gas and to stop being that team who doesn't perform when they need to perform. And boy, is James Franklin lucky that this isn't one of the better teams. I I could not be more thankful that we lost to Oregon. Thank you, Oregon.
True. Real shit.
Now we now we now we have this path to the finals, and I don't want to be too arrogant, but man, this is one you got to win. Obviously, but like you win this game.
Yeah.
Give me Penn State.
Yeah, I'll take my boys. I'll take the Nittany Lions also. Adam made a great point. For all those people hyping up Boise State, which there aren't a lot, name one player on the team besides Ash and Genty.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody outside of Boise State, maybe some Boise State fans, probably couldn't either. Um, but yeah, you look at the star power over at Penn State, and it starts with Tyler Warren. That dude, he is the best tight end Penn State has had since probably a guy in like the 60s, truly. I mean, he is unbelievable. He might be the best Penn State tight end of all time. And I don't think that's far-fetched. Just based off his versatility, he's fast, he's enormous, and he has a catch radius of George Pickens. Maybe not that, but he has an insane catch radius. But and then Drew Aller playing some of the best football he's ever played. We did start slow against SMU, but we really turned it up. The two-headed monster, Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, godly. Kind of shallow at receiver, but
Definitely. I mean, yeah.
Julian Fleming isn't a slouch. Um,
It just comes down to making plays when they need to be made.
yeah, I agree. Trey Wallace also pretty good. And then the defensive side of the ball starts with Abdul Carter. Tony Rojas had a pick six. Um, who was the guy who had two picks? Dom something. I forget his name.
Dom, I don't know.
You know exactly who I mean, though. And
I
then
know
Jalen Reed, beast of a safety. Um, yeah, this Penn State team is good. Um,
Dominic DeLuca.
Dominic DeLuca, yes, he had a pick six and
Beast.
a
Two pick six. I mean,
but
I don't know.
but
Well, yeah.
but yeah, Penn State's good, and I expect them to win this game. And honestly, between Notre Dame and Georgia, if we do beat Boise State, I think we could beat either of those teams. I'd much rather play Notre Dame, obviously, but we'll get into that in a second.
Notre Dame. Okay, yeah, we can get into that.
Okay. Um, Second game we got here, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Who doesn't love some Chick-fil-A, right?
I'm
On
right.
New Year's Day, 1 o'clock, Texas, number five, Arizona State, number four. This is another one of those games where I'm not just going to say Arizona State's some crappy team. Cam Skattebo is a great running back. Kind of like, reminds me of Boise State. They have a great running back. Not sure about the rest. But then you've got Texas, who's got a lot of star power on that team. And I think Texas is just going to do what Penn State's going to do and get a victory here. I guess you can't even, I don't know if you even called an upset because I genuinely believe Texas is the better team. So they need to reseed this dang tournament next year, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is. They need to rethink this a little bit.
This is a mess.
like it should have been like I think Penn State could have been in contention of getting a bye. I think
Yes.
Texas could have gone a bye.
It,
Um,
it
Ohio
should have
State,
been the top four teams in the country get a bye. And then you either figure out with conference winners from there, or you just do the number 5 through 12 teams in the college football playoff ranking
yeah,
as your state teams. And you make them go head to head. And then teams like Penn State get to play in the second round. I really think that's what they should do.
yeah, no, I agree totally.
Anyways, Texas.
Yeah, I'm going Texas too. I like Quinn Ewers. He's had kind of a quiet year. He was hurt for a little bit. Not quiet year, quite like middle to second half of the year. But he should win this game. The Texas should win this game. Pretty pretty convincingly. Shout out Arizona State for making it though. Good year.
We all agree on Texas. Yes.
Okay, so now we move on to one of my favorite college football games of the year, the Rose Bowl, at
Hmm.
5 o'clock on New Year's Eve. Number eight, Ohio State taking on number one, Oregon. Ohio State has a rough path if they want to keep going. Had to beat Tennessee, blew the doors off Tennessee. And there's something I like about redemption. Ohio State and Oregon played during the season. Oregon won that game by 1 point. And Ohio State was driving down the field until our beloved quarterback, Will Howard, forgot how to tell time. And Ohio State lost. But now they get another shot at this. And like I said, Ohio State coming off a lot of momentum, a big win. Oregon's had some time off. There's something I like about momentum, and there's something I like about redemption. Give me the Buckeyes to upset the number one team in the country and move on to play in the Cotton Bowl Classic. Why not us? That's what I'm going to say. Why not us?
Interesting. Oregon.
If you disagree, I get it. I was just going to say, if you disagree, I get it. But
Joking. No, man. I could see Ohio State winning, but dude, Oregon is just unbelievable. Dylan Gabriel, he is coming from. I mean, obviously, Adam, you watched them too, but seeing them, seeing how fast this dude's release is and how accurate. I just had accurate. Jesus Christ, how accurate he is. Yeah. I think Oregon. You could argue that the time off could hurt them. I think it's going to help them. Um, I'm going with Oregon here, mainly because I hate Ohio State, but that's neither here nor there.
fair enough. Fair enough.
I actually think the time off can hurt them. I think it'll be a slow start, but no team in this entire bracket is unfamiliar with slow starts. I don't think that'll decide the game or anything.
This is true.
I think Oregon's going to squeak it out as well. It's hard to say, but they they just do all the right things when they need to do them. And maybe it's a little bit of getting lucky. I'm not saying the Penn State would have won the Big Ten championship, but that interception at the end. Not saying that Ohio State would have won that game, so but running out the time at the end, they get lucky, but when they don't have to get lucky, they just do the right things all the time. And so the you know, I can see Ohio State winning, but I can certainly more likely see Oregon maintaining their dominance.
All right. Final game we've got. Sugar Bowl at 8:45 p.m. on New Year's Day. Number 7 Notre Dame coming off a huge win against Indiana. Turns out Kirk Cignetti does not beat the you know what out of top 25 teams, because Indiana did not win clearly. But now Notre Dame has to play Georgia, and Georgia will be without starting quarterback Carson Beck. Gunnar Stockton will be the quarterback for the rest of the season, which is tough for Georgia. However, it gives me a little deja vu at the same time. I did some research. Jake Fromm was not the team's QB1 going into the year when he led Georgia to a national championship appearance against Alabama that they almost won. Stetson Bennett was not the QB1 going into the year when he led Georgia to a national championship win over Alabama in 2021, followed up with a win as the starter a year later. Who says they don't do it for a third time? I get Notre Dame's a very good team. I'm not underestimating them whatsoever. But there's something about Georgia with backup quarterbacks, and I like Kirby Smart coaching against Marcus Freeman in this game. I think it'll be close, but I'm going to say Georgia wins.
I don't know, Luke. You go ahead.
I say Georgia doesn't do it again. They're vulnerable. Notre Dame had that very embarrassing loss. That was a long time ago. And they have not looked back at all. They don't beat teams. They destroy them. And they're not going to destroy Georgia. But man, Notre Dame looks good. And like I said, Georgia is vulnerable. Give me Notre Dame.
I'll
I
also
could I could very easily eat those words, but
I'll also take Notre Dame. Yeah.
I think I'm right. I think we're right.
Mhm.
I really do.
We
Anyway,
shall see.
yeah, we shall see. Anyway,
We've got two disagreements in there.
You know how long ago it was that Penn State got surprised by Bowling Green and still won. That's how long ago it was that Notre Dame lost that game.
Mhm.
And man, they have not looked back
Mhm.
at all.
No, Notre Dame's a good team, and they beat the brakes off Indiana. Like it wasn't close.
They killed them. Yeah.
So we've all got Penn State, we've all got Texas. You two have Oregon, I have Ohio State. You two have Notre Dame, I have Georgia. This should
Yeah,
be
so
interesting.
me and Luke agree on everything. Yeah.
We're
You
just on the
do?
same wavelength.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
We got it.
I think that covers it for this week, though. We'll be back to predict week 18 before we get into our first playoff show of the season. We're almost there, folks. The best, the best football of the season is getting close. It's coming up. But for now, we are your hosts, Adam.
Dante,
And Luke.
I'll catch you next week. Talk to you later.
we are.